a very important point with the line on the reels is a line called the shock leader. Now, when you're fishing, you load up your reel with anything between 12 and 25 pounds line, but on top of that, you must have attached to it maybe 25 foot of shock leader. In other words, it's got to be long enough to go all the way up the rod and all the way back down through the tip ring and around your reel at least 8 times, so that when you're casting 8 ounces of lead, that 80 pounds isn't going to break. Now, on here, you can see this is quite a heavy line. If you've never seen line before, this is quite thick. That's the 80 pound shock leader with a very, very strong swivel on the end there. What I'll do is pull off this, you'll see how much I've got on. Each time I do that, it's about 3 foot. All the way down, and then in a second, this line will be going through the rings, and then which will attach to the trace that you'll be fishing with the bait and the lead on, so you hopefully catch your fish. But there we go, and right away you can see the lighter line. That's actually 15 pound line. So that goes all the way, you've got all that spool is completely full of 15 pound line, then attached to an 80 pound shock leader with a knot I call the spider hitcher. What are you going to say about this kind of thing? What's your theory on this? I use 80 pound line all the time.
Yeah, I tend to use, I would suggest a minimum of 60 for beach fishing, because that takes the strain of a 5 ounce, 6 ounce weight.
Yes.
But with your capability of casting, I mean, you are an incredible caster, Barney. I mean, the 80 makes an awful lot of sense because it just gives you that little bit more edge. But for general people, there's a very simple formula that you can use for your shock leader, and that is basically for every ounce of lead that you use a minimum of 10 pounds shock leader. So to give you an example, if you're using 5 ounce leads, you should have a minimum of 50 pound shock leader. Personally, I would go for 60, and that gives you the edge, doesn't it? Just makes it strong enough to for really powerful casting.
Just make sure you've got it on there.
Make sure you've got it at least 6 or 7 turns around the spool.
Exactly. Up and down the rod, so you've got more than enough.
That's right. When it comes to mainline, it's a little bit more technical maybe, but if you're fishing very calm weather and it's relatively clean sandy ground, then you can get away with 15 pound line and that 60 to 80 pound shock leader. But I think for these conditions, and particularly for the type of beaches here, some of the beaches are very sort of lots of gullies with clay banks and there's little patches of rough and stuff. I personally would tend to fish 20 pound as my main line and then 60 to 80 pound on my shock leader. And then I know I've got that little bit of an edge. If I get a good fish, I can fight it in a big surf, and also should it, you know, it get into some of the snags, I've got a chance of getting it out.
Yeah, a little bit of abrasion, you've still got a fair thickness of line.
But you've also got to think about the diameter of the line, because the higher you go, if you go much above 20, you start to cut down on your casting distance.
That's right, yeah.
And also you increase the resistance of the tide, because the tide's passing through. The heavier diameter lines tend to obviously pick that up a bit more. So don't tend to go too much above 20 and you won't be too far away.
Yeah, rule of thumb, 15 to 20 pound line, 80 pound leader on your multiplier reel or a fixed spool reel. I'd always recommend, if you're starting out, to use a fixed spool reel, and it's just easier to use. And if you want to, you can go onto a multiplier, which is what this is, but that's the basic setup. Line 20 pound, 15, 20 pounds, then 80 pound leader.
That's right.